Get out.
No.
What do you mean, no? What is your thing?
No.
You don't get to speak to me ever again. Ever. You.
So she crying, I'm crying. It was like I don't know, a different. It wasn't a hurt cry. It was like, yes, this is what I need.
You get to ask for what you want. You get to ask for what you want. I bow to you.
Thank you.
For what you just did. You took a stand for yourself. You asked for what you wanted. And you did not allow yourself to be manipulated out of it.
They said it was healing, but what happened to DMX on national TV was a setup, and it backfired in the most explosive way.
Very constant control. Not call him stupid. Not call him stupid. I just talk about it. You don't even know the. Or, you didn't. Of course, I raise my voice, but I still don't talk.
In 2013, rapper DMX appeared on Iyanla, Fix My Life, a popular OWN network show backed by Oprah Winfrey. Framed as a chance for emotional healing and reconciliation, the episode quickly spiraled into one of the most controversial reality TV moments of the decade. Viewers expected a breakthrough. What they got instead was a public ambush that exposed far more than just DMX's pain. It revealed the ruthless mechanics behind so-called redemption television.
You know how many B words he called me. You don't know how, until the point where we had security on the set.
Wow.
And security had to really restrain my son. Because my son is not accustomed to hearing men call me out my name.
It started like every other episode. Soft lighting, soothing music, and the familiar face of Iyanla Vanzant, calm and composed, ready to fix someone's life. But this time, the person sitting across from her wasn't just another troubled guest. It was Earl Simmons, DMX, a man whose voice could shake arenas, but who now sat in silence, unaware that he was walking straight into a televised ambush. From the outside, it looked like a healing intervention. But to DMX, the moment the cameras rolled, something felt off. The set didn't feel like a sanctuary. It felt like a trap, scripted, staged, and designed to poke the bear.
This man has been cleared of any allegations, period. They investigated the situation. It looked like it wasn't anything at all. But then you have Harvey Weinstein, on the other hand, who is even paying out his victims at this particular time. And Oprah is not doing or highlighting anything about Harvey Weinstein.
She knew I was special. What the fuck are you talking about? Because everybody that knows me, everybody that, don't know, damn, dog, you doing good, son, yo.
Behind the curtain, Oprah Winfrey, the matriarch of daytime TV. Her network, OWN, had been struggling to land big cultural moments. And this was meant to be one. The plan was simple. Bring in a broken man, frame it as therapy, and let the chaos unfold. The more emotional the breakdown, the higher the ratings. Everyone knew it. DMX didn't. At least, not yet. He thought he was coming to have a real conversation. Maybe something personal. Maybe something redemptive. Instead, he found himself staring down a woman armed with spiritual slogans and clinical calm, asking loaded questions and waiting for the moment he snapped.
The number of times that he raised up and really became aggressive, stepping into my energy because he was hot.
It was not, no, it wasn't supposed to be about anything with that.
Nothing with the kids. What about with support?
No warning, no heads up, just a quiet shift in the room as DMX's son walked onto the set. The cameras kept rolling. DMX's eyes locked onto his boy. Older now, a stranger in some ways. There hadn't been a phone call before this. No private reunion, just a sudden public confrontation dressed up as a father-son healing moment. The entire room went still. For viewers, it felt raw. For DMX, it felt like betrayal. He'd agreed to talk, but not like this. What made it worse? Iyanla didn't step back. She leaned in. She fed his son lines. Ask him what you want. The boy, clearly coached, asked for a healthy relationship. It sounded rehearsed. like something from a script DMX hadn't been given.
How are we gonna have a nice, healthy relationship if you're toxic?
Toxic. If there's gonna be a condition, if there's gonna be a demand, when all I've given you is unconditional love, I'm not gonna allow that.
Then came the spark. Iyanla questioned his sobriety. Not gently, not out of care. She asked if he was high on national television. That was it. DMX snapped. Not with violence, not with threats, but with fury. Don't play with my family. You're playing with fire. The calm mask slipped. What On got wasn't a breakthrough. It was a warning shot.
I knew that he wasn't in his right mind. He was chemically altered.
That's how I was like that with the last 6 months of my grandmother. So I just woke up one day, didn't want to get out. And I was clean and sober. Didn't drink anything the last 6 months of my life.
And for millions watching, it felt like the moment everything flipped. This wasn't therapy. This wasn't love. This was televised baiting. And DMX, he saw it for exactly what it was. But this wasn't just about a reunion gone wrong. This was part of something bigger, something designed. DMX came to speak his truth. But what he walked into wasn't a conversation. It was a crucifixion. They didn't bring him there to understand him. They brought him there to break him. And when he didn't play along, they pushed harder.
Every party, every industry party, all the clubs. I go somewhere quiet, man, shoot pool with me and my mans and them. You know what I'm saying? That's type of shit. That's type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Remote control cars, jump on the four-wheelers, you know what I mean? I ain't with all that in the club, throwing it up and all that bullshit.
The questions got sharper, the tone colder. Iyanla started digging. Not gently, not gradually, but like she was mining for a meltdown. His addiction? Probed. His trauma? Poked. His family? Put on display. And every flicker of emotion, every rise in his voice became a headline waiting to happen. This wasn't concern. This was content. And when DMX pushed back, when he growled, when he cursed, when he fought to hold the pieces together, they had exactly what they needed. The edit was done before the footage even aired. Angry, aggressive, out of control. That's how they framed him. That's what sold.
I didn't have anything against Oprah.
You just called up.
I'm gonna tell you why.
You named your dog Oprah, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
That.
Look.
I remember that.
No, look. Every time she made a mention to hip hop culture, it was something that was wrong with it, and that everything that's wrong with our culture is why I'm a success.
Wow.
So when I actually got a chance to talk to her, she was like, I never thought about it like.
But if they thought this was just about DMX, they were wrong, because this moment was part of a much bigger pattern. To the cameras, he looked unhinged. To the producers, he gave them what they wanted. But to anyone really paying attention, this wasn't a monster unraveling. It was a man who'd been through hell, finally reacting to the feeling of being hunted. Because long before the lights, the labels, or the legacy, Earl Simmons was just a kid trying to survive. He grew up in chaos, group homes, hunger, beatings, betrayal. By the time he was 15, he'd been locked up more times than most people have birthdays. He didn't trust people. He didn't need to. Trust, in his world, got you killed. And yet, there he was sitting under studio lights, being told to open up for the same system that had exploited him his whole life. Only this time, the weapon wasn't a fist. It was a question, a smirk, a script.
Well, it wasn't even about protecting myself. I endured the disrespect. I'm an elder. I'm your elder. I'm old enough to be his mother. In fact, I'm older than his.
DMX wasn't broken. He was scarred. He barked because he had to. He fought because he never learned to beg. Every outburst, every snap wasn't performance. It was protection. Ask the people who knew him. Jay Farrow told the story of DMX accidentally punching him mid-performance, not out of malice, just pure, unfiltered energy. Memphis Bleak recalled the time DMX jumped out of a car in Miami to chase Maze down the beach like a wild animal, no explanation, just instinct, just survival.
Jumps in the car with him. We ride out. Come to find out, he stole the car that we're riding in. Like this.
Even Ja Rule once sat in a stolen car beside him, stunned as DMX grinned and told the cops, "This ain't even my car." He wasn't pretending to be wild. He was wild. But here's the thing no one understood. He was also loyal. Deeply. Painfully. If he loved you, he'd die for you. if he felt betrayed, you were dead to him. There was no middle ground. So when Oprah and Iyanla tried to confront him with calm, polished TV therapy, they weren't reaching a man, they were poking a lion. And he roared. But this wasn't just about pushing DMX to the edge. It was about shaping how the world sees voices like his.
Is it like being around DMX?
DMX was dangerous, man. Like, not dangerous, but he's like, when you around him, he's like, you don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
What happened to DMX wasn't new. It was part of a pattern. And the closer you look, the clearer it gets. Oprah Winfrey had always known how to shape a narrative. She built an empire on transformation, taking broken lives and neatly packaging them into inspirational stories. But only if those lives could be cleaned up, polished, and made digestible for daytime television. And hip-hop? That didn't fit. Not the real kind. Not the raw kind. DMX wasn't the first to feel it. Years before, Ludacris appeared on Oprah's show as part of the Crash movie cast. Instead of celebrating the film or his career, she grilled him on his lyrics, cut his responses, made him feel like an intruder in a space that had invited him. Later, he admitted, "I felt ambushed."
I didn't have anything against Oprah.
You just called up.
I'm gonna tell you why.
You named your dog Oprah, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Dad.
Look.
I remember that.
No, look. Every time she made a mention to hip hop culture, it was something that was wrong with it.
50 Cent echoed the same. He questioned why Oprah constantly took aim at hip-hop, accusing it of poisoning minds, degrading women, while staying quiet about the crimes of powerful men in her circle. He even named his dog, Oprah, as a dig. It wasn't about disrespect. It was about frustration. She never gave artists like them the chance to explain the pain behind the music. And then came DMX, a man who wasn't just raw, he was uncontrollable. He couldn't be packaged into a success story. He couldn't be softened for sponsors. He didn't speak in metaphors. He barked, he bled, he told you the truth even when it was ugly. That's what made him dangerous.
X snuffs the nigga. Pow! Knocks the dude out. The dude is out of the ground. So now we go, he takes the watches. We go up into the studio. I think we was in Quad that day. We go up in Quad. They call us up on the phone from downstairs. Yo, the police is on their way up.
Oprah had no problem laughing with Jay-Z on her couch, trading freestyles and sharing childhood memories. He was safe. He wore the suit. He'd been branded, vetted, and sanitized for success. But DMX, he was the storm. And storms don't get invited inside. They get filmed from behind glass. That's why his appearance on Iyanla, Fix My Life, felt different. It wasn't about healing. It was about framing. But if you think this was just a bad match between a rapper and a host, keep watching, because the next part reveals just how deep this strategy went. If you trace the moment far enough back, it becomes clear. DMX wasn't just a guest on a show, he was the final act in a much longer play. One built on carefully curated optics, power dynamics, and who gets to speak versus who gets heard. Oprah had built her empire on telling stories, but only certain kinds. The ones that ended in order, growth, redemption. The ones that looked good in a pull quote or a Harvard lecture. But real hip-hop, the unfiltered, unrefined kind that tells the truth without permission, that never fit. And that's exactly what DMX embodied.
It's like a hip-hop convention. When you go to the convention center in Vegas, you see so many booths that have black ownership and a part of a new black culture.
He wasn't just unpredictable. He was unmanageable. His pain was too real. His past too loud. His spirit too wild to be wrapped in the soft-focus lens of daytime TV. And so instead of uplifting him, they caged him for everyone to watch. It wasn't clumsy. It was calculated. Oprah didn't just overlook hip-hop's voices. She targeted them. She criticized the genre publicly for glorifying violence, for degrading women, for being a bad influence. But she rarely mentioned the context, the trauma, the poverty, the systemic abuse that birthed those bars. To her, it was noise, dangerous noise. And yet, there was always a contradiction. Jay-Z welcomed with a smile. Why? Because he fit the mold. Billion-dollar brand. Clean-cut businessman. A rapper turned mogul. But Ludacris, 50 Cent, and DMX, they were either silenced or turned into cautionary tales. And the double standard didn't stop there. When allegations surrounded Russell Simmons and Michael Jackson, both black men, Oprah aired specials. She gave platforms to accusers. She dove in. But when Harvey Weinstein, her longtime associate, was accused and later convicted of predatory behavior, silence. It raised a hard question. Who gets called out and who gets protected? For many watching, the answer was clear. If you're raw, if you're real, if you refuse to play by the media's rules, you're a target. But if you're polished, powerful, or connected, you're shielded.
You got issues with the industry. What's going down with the industry, dog?
The industry is full of a bunch of fucking riding, bending over the desk, straight up like that. Whoever don't like it, bring it. Bring it. I don't give a bring it. Bring it. They got this new breed of rapper that's paying DJs to play their shit.
Right.
And, you know what I'm saying? They sucking the record label executives' dicks, and it's like there's too much of that going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let me be me. Let me be the artist that I am and just play my mother music. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Now they want you all up under this, you know, sitting at going to dinner with them and that, and you know, all that favor for a favor shit. I don't get down like that. Look, I give you the music, you give my money. That's it. A lot of the love I had for wanting to be a part of the industry is not there anymore. I don't even associate myself with the industry. You know what I'm saying? I'm not an industry artist. I'm an artist in the industry.
DMX wasn't brought on Fix My Life to be helped. He was brought on to be humbled, publicly, brutally. But the producers underestimated something. You can't humiliate a man who already owns his truth. And when DMX realized the trap he'd walked into, he didn't stay silent. He pushed back, loudly. Buried beneath the shouting, the shaking voice, and the rising tension, DMX said something that never made the highlight reels. He looked his son in the eyes, and he said, "All I've ever given you is unconditional love. No catch, no camera tricks, just a father, broken, raw, and still trying." It didn't go viral. It didn't trend, but it was real. And that's the part they couldn't control. He didn't storm off. He didn't punch a wall. He stayed, not for the producers, not for Iyanla, for his son. Because no matter how much pain he carried, no matter how much the world labeled him dangerous, unfixable, or gone, DMX still showed up. That's what real strength looks like. The internet felt it. And for once, the narrative shifted. The comments weren't about the outbursts. They were about the trap, about the show, about how many people had watched this man's breakdown and missed the humanity inside it. What was meant to be healing had turned into a public spectacle. But if the show tried to break him down in front of millions, the ending didn't go the way they planned. They wanted DMX to fall apart on cue, but instead, he exposed them. What OWN thought was a dramatic success became something far more powerful, a cautionary tale about how media handles real pain. DMX didn't give them redemption. He gave them reality, and they weren't ready for it. Because when you put a man like Earl Simmons under a spotlight and try to script his healing, you're not capturing truth, you're committing character assassination. But in the end, he didn't crumble. He didn't fake it. He didn't smile for the camera. He told the truth, even when it cost him. And maybe that's why it still matters, because in a world built on edits, DMX refused to be edited. If you made it this far, you're one of the real ones. Drop a comment below. Was this healing, or was it exploitation? And hit that subscribe if you want more untold stories just like this one. Until next time, stay sharp and question everything.